everyone, and thank you for tuning in. This is actually my first recorded face to face interview that I'm doing for the podcast. So I would like to welcome Enid. I met Enid with one of her, or through one of her events that she was having with Soli Dina on connecting with angels and just activating that part of yourself and connecting with the angels. And I really connected with her and her energy and just what she's doing. And I was so glad when she agreed to be interviewed on the podcast. So I will hand it over to her, let her tell you about who she is and what she does. Go ahead, Enid.
Hello, thank you, Carla, for inviting me on your show, on your podcast. I really appreciate it. Okay, so about me, I live in New York and I love to work with energy. I'm a natural rhythms creation coach, a shamanic Reiki priestess, and I do energy healing and working with light codes and bringing in high level frequency. So that's basically where I'm at right now.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Um, Tell me a little bit more. And I know this wasn't one of the questions that I sent to you previously, but I didn't know about the rhythm. What is that?
Natural rhythms.
Yes. Tell us a
Natural
little bit
rhythms.
about that.
That is working with the elemental forces of creation, how we are part of the elements and it's also within us and outside of us, and how to work with each of the realms, like the mental realm, the spiritual realm, the physical realm, emotional realm, and how each of those realms connects with an elemental force, and how you can work with the energy, how all of them need to be in balance in order to, it's easier to manifest and to work with, co-create with the universal life force. With
Oh, I
creation,
love that. We're going to have to connect more on that later.
yeah. Okay.
So tell everyone, how did you start your journey? How did it begin? Dig a
Okay.
little deeper.
Well, I did not grow up in any kind of religion. I wasn't indoctrinated in anything. And I kind of grew up like not knowing anything about God or anything like that. So in about 2010, um, I was just on full steam ahead, really depressed and addicted and alcohol and all that stuff. And I just had like hit my lowest point and I just started to pray, asking my angels for help. And they helped me. So, I had a dream with an angel, and then little things started happening, synchronicities. My mom gave me a videotape from Louise Hay called You Can Heal Your Life. And I watched that, and that kind of like just shifted me completely to a different direction. I started watching Hay House and all the authors there, and I studied energy medicine, studied shamanism, self-development, and I was just consumed with it because it was like, wow, it was just really an eye-opener, and I really made a strong connection with the energy, and it was just that just totally shifted my whole life. I was able to connect with divine essence and feel it and know it, that there is a God, there is a divine feminine, divine masculine, both of them together for creation. So that's where I
Awesome.
started. Yeah.
I think that's kind of like a similar theme. Everyone has their own story, everyone has their
Mhm.
own journey, but I think either you grew up and it's passed down through the generations, or you kind of go through some sort of challenge that
Right.
awakens you to the other side of
Exactly.
it, the spiritual
You
realm. Yeah.
you hit the low point, and that's when you ask for help. And it's a really important factor, which ties into one of your other questions, is that you have free will and you have to ask for your angels and your guides' help, because if you don't ask, they really don't want to interfere with your life, you
Right.
know? So it's really, when you hit that low point, you just like, help me, help me get out of this situation, you know? And then if you're sincere, and it's like the dark night of the soul. So you end up going through that, and then you wake up and you start moving into a spiritually aligned life.
Right. Yeah, I totally get that. What is one of the most important lessons that you have learned so far on your journey?
Well, I think one of the most important lessons is that, I am spirit, and that spirit flows through everything. Once you get that and you're able to co-create with spirit, that's like really like it's just awesome. Then you're never the same. You're never the same. You don't go back to not believing anymore. You're like, wow, I am the creator of my reality. I can communicate with my guides. I can communicate with my angels, and it's just a knowing, a trust that you develop with your spirit. And I think that was like number one thing for me.
Definitely. Having that knowledge of everything is energy, right? So it doesn't matter what it is, everything is energy, and just
Absolutely.
being able to work with that energy to get the life that you want.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And we're energy. We're fractals of God. We're fractals of the goddess. Fractals of earth. We're fractals of everything. Everything is intertwined. Everything is energy.
Great. Yeah. I that's also one of my biggest lessons is working with the energy and kind of learning, how not to work against it, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
when you're first, waking up to this spiritual life, you're kind of like, oh, things are happening to me, but nothing's really happening to you. They're either happening for you or you're attracting these things through your mindset and through your energy field, and just learning that and trying to shift that perspective was a big lesson.
Absolutely. That's like in the levels of consciousness where you're in victim consciousness. And then you move up to manifester, you figure out, oh, I can manifest, I will do it. But then you move into, allowing it, right? And then being it. So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, a process that you go through in different areas of your life. So absolutely.
Awesome. Do you have any tips or suggestions to help people that might be struggling with connecting with their guides or their ancestors or their higher self? Because I do believe that's one of the most important things to learn, especially when you're first starting out, is to get in touch with your higher self and your guides and your ancestors or whatever you believe. But that's really kind of like the core, because that's how you receive your guidance and your messages and know, like that, knowing that you're on the right path. So do you have any suggestions or tips for people that might be struggling with that a little bit?
Sure. I think you have to have a little bit of a discipline to ask. It's not like you just pray one day and it's going to happen. You have to want it and honor it, acknowledge it, have gratitude for it. And then it realizes that you see it and you're able to then communicate. So I know in the beginning for me, I was like trying to work with my guide, and in my perception at the time, I thought that I was gonna like see this being show up for me, and I had my guide, like I knew my guide was there, right? But that didn't happen, and so it didn't happen for a while, and I was like, oh, this doesn't work. This meditation doesn't work. I didn't see my guide, and it's because that's not the way they communicate. It's a subtle energy. It's a feeling that you get. It's a knowing that you get inside your body that, oh, okay, you have to it's different. It's not your own voice talking, it's inspiration. It's like when you're in spirit. So when you work with it, if you're going to start in the beginning, like when I started in the beginning, I will create a ritual to honor it, light my candle, and do something. It depends on my intention, I think. if I was working on something specifically, like if I was doing for protection or something, it was my first time doing it. I remember way back when I did like a 7-day invocation, and I planned it out and I did it. And so it becomes, when you create ceremony and ritual, it takes you out of your normal and it creates something special. And then once you connect, then you allow for the messages to flow through. It's not like you're going to get it. You can get it instantaneously. That does happen. But then you want to check yourself too, that it's not your ego making it up. So I think daily practice of connecting is really important. Yeah, daily practice, and then listening and following the guidance.
I like that. Especially the part about realizing that you may not get an answer right away. And I also want to add, you might not get an answer right away, or you might not get the answer in the way that you expect. I think a lot of people, they expect to like hear, and if you're not clairaudient, you might not hear it. Or they expect to like see this glaring neon sign with like arrows pointing, and that's just not the way it works.
Yeah, that was my perception. I was like, I'm gonna do this meditation, I'm gonna be my guides. I was so excited, and then I was doing and nothing.
Yeah,
But they did come, but in a different way, in my dreams, in synchronicities and stuff like that. And then I started to realize, oh, okay, they are listening. It's not, you have to be open to the way that you receive the information. Mm-hmm.
exactly. I mean, you could, ask a question, and then in the next day or two, you're in your car and the song comes on that answers your question. You have to be open and observant and just ready to receive.
Yes, yes, yes. It's funny because sometimes when you're trying to manifest, if you're using an intention to manifest something, you also have to be open to allow it to come in what's for what you ask for, or something better. That's what I ask for, because sometimes it comes in and it's not what you asked for, but it's actually better. So you don't know it. You might be disappointed. You're like, okay, I got I wanted the blue. I didn't want yellow. But actually, yellow is what you needed. Yellow is what it's better than the other. So you have to be open to allow the frequency to come in what's best for you at this time in your journey.
Exactly. Be open and just go with the flow. Go with the flow and see where it takes you.
Yes.
I want to shift back a little bit to some of the angelic work, because as I mentioned, we met with one of your angelic activations. So can you tell us how you kind of got into the angelic work specifically? How did you first connect with the angels, and how do you continue to connect with them?
Okay. Well, like I said, during that dark night of the soul, I asked my angels to come in because that was the only thing that I knew. And so the angels were the first kind of guides that came to me. It came to me in my sleep. I felt in my sleep that I was lost. I didn't know where I was going, this and that. And all of a sudden, this guy came up and he's like, oh, I can help you, and this and that. And he helped me in the dreams. And then when I woke up in the morning, I was like, then that was my guide. I think that was my angel. So then like I said, the synchronicities kept coming. And I've always worked with angels. I've always worked with Archangel Michael. I worked a lot with Archangel Michael for protection in the beginning, because as I learned about the energy body and all of these things, that's where I was drawn to his protection and cutting cords and doing that type of work, clearing negative things from me, from attachments and addictions and stuff like that. So I definitely worked with Archangel Michael. I still work with Archangel Michael every day.
Me too.
I call him in every day,
Me too.
twice a day, sometimes more. It's once you develop a communication with them, it's like talking to a person. It's like every day, and I'm very grateful and thankful. So I like working with the angels. I like to work with the angels in all the directions. So that was something else that I used to do a lot. I don't do it as often, but when I work with the angels in an activation, I like to call them in from all the quarters and work with them. I worked with Archangel Raphael for healing. Gabrielle is my birth angel from according to my birth chart and works with the moon. I've worked with Archangel Gabriel, calling in the diamond light body, which is also a free gift that I'm going to offer to all the listeners here. I'm going to offer the free gift to the activation for that, for the
Oh,
diamond.
awesome.
Yes.
That link will be in the description box, guys.
Yes. So that is connecting with Archangel Gabriel and the diamond light. And yeah, so it's a part of my life now working with the angels. They're non-denominational, and I've learned more different angels as I've gotten older. Like first it was the four archangels. Then I learned about Metatron and Metatron's cube, and I work a lot with Metatron's cube. Then I learned, about Sandalphon and how he connects to grid, so that I integrated that. And then I started learning about the seraphims and the seraphim dragons and all of that. So that's something that I've been learning about this year about the seraphims. And I've got my angel wings activated, and I've gotten some attunements, um, you know, activating the seraphim energy within me. And so when you do some research, then you realize, oh, there's all kinds of, I knew there was lots of angels, the legions of light. You have an angel for everything. You have a joy angel. I mean, there's just as many angels as there is people, and they're for everything. And sometimes I call my angels when I need a parking spot. I know some place is going to be full, and I'm like, okay, angels, find me a parking spot. I'm on my way over there, and then boom, I have a spot right where I need it. So thank you. So it's you can call on your angels for anything. They're non-denominational, and they're just here to help humanity. They're here to help us. And we have our guardian angel.
Right. Yeah.
You can call on. So
yeah, I started with Archangel Michael and Archangel Metatron. And I haven't, and Archangel Hanael and Raziel because he helps with meditation.
Okay.
So I try to incorporate them into my routine.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Speaking of angels still, do you venerate angels like one would venerate their ancestors? So, and I don't know if you're into this, but when you have like an ancestor altar, and you venerate the ancestors and thank them and things like that, do you do the same thing when working with the angels?
I do. I have two little angel statues. They're about this big that I have on my altar in the living room. And it's next to another little statue that is the Black Madama, which was my grandmother's, she had that on her altar. I didn't know what was going on. So as I was doing my spiritual practice, I learned about what was, espiritismo and all of that stuff going on. But I think I took little bits of everything that I learned as I was researching and integrated it into my own spiritual practice. So I do light candles. I have tea lights that I light all the time, and I have my little statues. And then I have another part with a picture of Archangel Michael, and him I thank all the time. That's a photo, and then I have a tea light next to him. So I have different altars around the house for different purposes. Since I light tea lights, I kind of light them all at the same time, and then they go out. They're not on all the time. When I lived in Puerto Rico, I used to burn like 7-day candles and all that, but I can't do that here because I'm in an apartment now, so I can't burn candles. I just burn the tea lights, and then they turn off on their own. But yes, I do. I thank my angels all of the time, and I light the candles for them. Now, like I said earlier, if I need something specifically, then I will buy a candle specifically for that purpose and create an intention and ask that specific angel. Like I'll look at the things that associated with that angel, and I'll incorporate that into my invocation and prayer, and then I may do it for a certain amount of days, and then I let it go. So yes, it would be the same, I think, for as you do for your ancestors.
Definitely. Yeah, I was always curious about that because I don't really know much about it. Even though I've been working with them for a little bit and I've read a few books, I haven't, there's just so much to learn, right? There's so
There
much
is.
to learn, and I just have not learned it all. So I figured this would be a good opportunity to get some information.
Yes. When I began, I was just reading everything and everybody. I read a lot of Doreen Virtue's stuff, and she's no longer with the angels. And somebody had mentioned that to me when I said that I learned from her. And my view on that is that she helped me connect with my angels, and I still have that connection to this day. And I'm thankful for that. If she chose to go on another path, that's her life. It has nothing to do with me. So I'm grateful that she had all that content out because it works for me. And that's, I still am very connected with my angels because of her, because she
Yeah.
had those books and those oracle cards and all of that.
Yeah, everyone has their own, like I said earlier, everyone has their own journey. Maybe she felt like that part of her journey is over
Right.
and she moved on to something else. It's not really, we
Mm-hmm.
get what we can get out of it, and then people move on, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And I like to think, maybe 5, 10 years from now, who knows, I might not be doing the same thing,
Right.
but that's okay.
We grow and change. Absolutely.
And that's all part of life, growing, changing, learning, adapting,
Yes.
and moving forward. Well, one last question I have for you. I ask all my guests, what does a magical moment look like to you?
I think a magical moment is when you realize that you are a co-creator with the universe. When you've done something or get the knowing that the intention that you put out was answered. And that is like a magical moment. That's like, I'm powerful, I'm magical, I have the magic within me. And then you're never the same. And also you're like, oh, let me be mindful of what I'm thinking, because if I can manifest this, then I need to monitor my thoughts so that I'm not manifesting stuff that I don't want.
Right? Keep your thoughts positive,
Yes,
keep your words positive, be mindful of what you think and what you say.
yes, because we're co-creators with the universe. And once you get that, that's like a magical moment. Then you're like, oh my God, I did it.
Awesome. So I usually close out the episode with some affirmations. Do you have any affirmations that you'd like to share?
Okay, sure. What about I connect with my higher self in pure love and joy.
I like that one.
I am a blessing to the world.
Good one.
Let me see what I usually bless the people that I love, or the people that are in my life, or if somebody needs a blessing, and then I'll send them a blessing ball of light and say, um, you are blessed by source light energy. You are blessed with love and light.
That's a good one. I like that. So those are some great, great affirmations for you guys. Write them down, replay them, say them often, and definitely connect with your higher self and your spirit guides and the angels because they will help you. I think that's about it. All of Enid's information, again, is in the description box. Please take advantage of her free gift and all of her other services. And I think that is it.
Thank you so much, Carla, for this opportunity. It was lovely talking with you.
You too. As always, start with gratitude, end with love, and find your magical moment. And I'll see you next time.